And we're back. Hey, it's John,
And Richard.
and we're back. That is the one Jimmy Fallon character from SNL I actually liked when he would do the morning
Oh
drive.
yeah,
DJ. Yeah, I'm not a big Jimmy Fallon fan.
I warmed up to him. I actually thought when he did the Today Show it was gonna suck, but he's done a great job.
The Tonight Show.
The Tonight Show, sorry, the Tonight Show.
I don't know. He's just a little too desperate for love me. Hey everybody, it's Bronze. Hey, if you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, what the hell's wrong with you? Bronze and Modern Gods is the handle. If you're on YouTube, are you on YouTube? Let me look. You said your TV. Okay. Hit like, hit subscribe. And if you listen to us on the audio podcast, we haven't had a good review in a while. That would be sweet of you to do in this giving season. Richard, 2024.
I know this is the last show of the year. Actually, when this show airs, it will be 2024.
It's the first show of the
Yeah, the
year.
first show of the year. Yeah, welcome everybody to 2024.
Yeah,
Year of
let's
Armageddon.
pop some champagne, some corks there. And it's our first hot book of the week for 2024. Richard, what is it?
It is Giant Size Superstars #1. It wins the prize for double hyphenation.
Featuring Fantastic Four is not hyphenated. Bummer.
Yeah, 1974. This book has both John and I kind of scratching our heads.
Well, here's why it's hot this week. There's been an uptick in sales of this book because a facsimile edition of this came out. Why is there a facsimile edition of Giant Size Superstars #1, Richard?
I don't know. I
Neither do
don't
I.
know what the decision making process is at Marvel to determine these facsimiles, because they do great ones like Hulk 181 and Fantastic Four #1, and then they do things that you just like wonder what in the world's going on here. What like
Usually,
this.
usually there's a tie-in of some sort, whether there's a Disney Plus series premiering or a movie coming or a relaunch. And
But they did an Alpha Flight #1, and the facsimile, the original book was almost as valuable as the facsimile.
you can get that book in the color bin still, #1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why? You always wonder, are they signaling something? Is there, like you mentioned, is there some kind of movie tie-in, or are they going to restart a series? And this is kind of a refresher for people about it. But this book just doesn't really seem to have any noticeable or notable events in it.
Well, here's the thing about Giant Size Superstars #1, not the facsimile, the original. It was the first in the series of giant size titles that Marvel launched in 1974. And it was originally supposed to be giant size superstars, and it would rotate. You'd have Fantastic Four one issue, then it would be Spider-Man, and then Conan. And it was supposed to rotate. Well, between issue 1 and issue 2, they decided to give everybody their own giant size titles because they were competing with DC's 100-page spectaculars at the time. So Giant Size Superstars #2 actually became Giant Size Spider-Man #1. And then with issue 2 of Giant Size Superstars, it became Giant Size Fantastic Four #2. Blah, 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 blah. Minutia, but that's why you're all here, for minutia. This is a Hulk versus Thing battle, and it's Rich Buckler doing his best Jack Kirby swipes throughout. And it is a desirable Hulk versus Thing battle, and all those covers, they always command a premium, but this one really is tough at 9.8, correct?
Yeah, the last sale for our 9.8 happened back in April for $1,545.
Boing.
Strangely enough, there's a 9.9 on the census for this book. Last sold in 2007. So out there for a 9.9 of a book from 1974, that's pretty amazing.
I'm shaking my head because, all right, you've seen these square bounds, the giant sizes, right? You
Right.
know that the interior is stapled and then the outer cover is glued on the spine. So what
Right.
ends up happening to the cover?
The staples poke through or leave indentations on the cover.
How can a 9.9 of this book possibly exist when production error are, those production errors are not counted towards a 9.8. Did somebody press the heck out of it and make it like super glassy smooth? I don't know.
I don't know. And this maybe a file copy that got pulled before it went to distribution? I just have a hard time seeing a book from 1974, given the way the books were treated back then. They were same as newspapers. You bundle them up, you throw them onto the street, and they weren't taken. They weren't offered the care that some books are given nowadays. So at 9.9, I just like you, I kind of question.
If you out there have a Giant Size Superstars number one 9.9, please let us know. Send us pictures. We want to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Send us pictures. I would love to see pictures. And I would recommend you take very, very good care of that slab and not ever have to have a crack and have to send the book back in.
Oh, what were you talking about? Slabs and cracking and everything. Is there anything going on since we were out? Oh, but before we get into that, a reminder to support the show by becoming a member here on YouTube for the cost of $2.99 a month. Say it with me. That's less than a Starbucks. You can show your support for Bronze and Modern Gods and get those perks as well. Exclusive live member only streams. We were just on Friday night for another rollicking time. Get extra show and tell episodes on Wednesday. You get shout outs in future videos, including this one. Look at all the new names, Richard. It grows and grows
Oh,
and
that's
grows.
awesome. Thank you so much, everybody.
I'm going to have to figure out how to do a scroll. I haven't figured that out yet, but if you guys want to see me learn how to do a scroll, join as a member and I'll have to add your names and learn.
Inconvenience John by joining.
It's not an inconvenience. I love it. We've got plenty of coverage and Comic Cons happening. You guys can help out. Just hit the join button down here next to the subscribe button below on YouTube. If you're on your phone or you're listening on the podcast, you got to get on a laptop or a desktop computer. And do they still have desktop computers?
Yeah, they do.
Really? Who uses a desktop? I guess graphic designers, editors.
Mm-hmm.
Man, do you use a desktop?
I have a gaming desktop. I only use it for gaming.
Of course. Yeah. Alienware. Hey, show and tell time. Let's switch to that screen. We know you're here for the CGC talk. We know you waiting for yet another couple of YouTubers to talk about it.
Yet another couple of YouTubers. Yeah.
We'll get there. But, show and tell is important because all the comic drama in 2023, the year of the scam is what I'm calling it, Richard. We had restoration companies keeping people's books apparently for years. We had Acetate Gate. Was that this year or was that 2022?
I don't remember.
It was 2022.
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, this is just the latest. We want to remind everybody of the positive aspects of comic book collecting. Why you're here, the stories, the art, the thrill of the hunt, the ability to look at your heritage auction amount and go, wait, there's a 20% uptick?
Yep.
Oh, we're talking about the positives. All right. So if you were here Friday for the members only live stream, Richard showed some of his heritage auction winnings. I have mine. I saved them for today. Just random stuff, no rhyme nor reason. I would see a book, it was going for below GPA. I would throw a bid in there and get excited that I got it for below GPA, and then that 20% surcharge and bidder buyer's premium would be added, and the sales tax, and all of a sudden it was GPA. Adventures of the Fly, number one from Archie. This is from 1959. It is Jack Kirby, Joe Simon, and totally pressable. This book's never been pressed, never been cleaned. It is, I don't know if it's going to get more. You see that big, long color breaking diagonal through the Fly.
Are you going to? Yeah, I see it there through the Y. Are you going to? Is it worth it to you to crack?
No. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to crack it, press it. I guess I could keep it raw and have it be nicer, but I'm definitely not going to send it back in because I'm still on strike. And boy, am I really on strike now. I promise you we'll get to it. But this was one of my winnings, fairly cheap. I think I got it for, I don't want to say the wrong number. I should pull those numbers up, but take in that Kirby goodness. Bzz, bzz, bzz.
Did you read The Fly? I mean, was
No.
that something? No?
These Archies are a little brutal. They're definitely for kids.
Mhm.
Uh, and they're, you're not looking at Marvel type subplotting and dramatics here. It's, there's a bad guy. Let me change into this costume and find him. What's your first show and tell?
Okay, my first book is actually a threefer. It's Gwen Stacy #2. Ji Hung Lee is the artist. He did the Ghost Spider um, variant cover that is so popular. It's very this is very indicative of that cover. This is the trade dress. It's the least valuable of them. Now this was one of my early experiences with the whole process of, hey, we've got one cover. Let's make small variations of that cover and sell the same book to the same person. So here's the A cover. They did a virgin variant of the A cover,
Mm.
which was a little bit more.
Did you buy them
And
as a, like they sell them?
yeah, they sold them as a set.
Okay.
So here is the Virgin. Well, they didn't make enough money off of this cover. So since we live in the world of digital art, it's really easy to switch one little area. So they made another more limited edition with her unmasked. So it is exactly the same cover, just the face area has been unmasked.
They saw you coming a mile away.
Uh, you know, and I, I'm a, me, I'm a huge Gwen Stacy Spider Gwen fan, Ghost Spider, whatever you want to call her. So I, excuse me, this was very indicative, like, again, of that Ghost Spider cover, and I said, wow, this is great. I bought these. I believe these were Frankie's Comics books as well from that, so they're store exclusives. But it seems to me after this, the floodgates opened, and you get multiple covers for the same title with small variations. And nowadays, when comics are 5.99 a piece and you're paying for three different versions of the same comic, that gets to be really, really, really expensive.
It is. It's nuts. But that was 2018. We were more innocent, younger, flush with cash.
Stupid.
Exactly. I did pull up my auction, my heritage auction receipt, and the Adventures of the Fly 4.0. It was $55. That
Okay.
was the winning bid. The buyer's premium was $29. So I ended up paying $84 pre-tax and pre-shipping for that
Oh,
book.
I'm sorry. It was 2020. It wasn't that far back. It was
Oh,
20.
okay. All
Just
right.
for so people
All right.
you're in the
Next
know.
up, we have Richard Millie, the model number 47 in a 4.0 with a Dan DiCarlo cover.
Awesome.
And in the height of the 1950s 3D craze, see Millie's 3D poses. That sounds filthy.
It does.
Yeah, but she's in the car, obviously in LA, headed to the beach. Judging from that traffic, she's on the 405. And she says to Clicker, "Do you think someday we'll actually reach the beach, Clicker?" And Clicker says, "Who cares?" Yeah, they are 2 point was that 24 miles? No, 2.25 miles to the beach. Which, if you live here in LA, that's only going to take you an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's one thing I am glad I don't have to deal with. Now, did those 3D glasses come with that book?
No, it's not actually 3D, it's just 3D poses. They're yeah,
Oh,
it's Stan Lee trying to trade off something without, having to pay for it. But this is from 1953. It is Dan DiCarlo cover art. Not sure who does the interior, but there's a chilly backup story in here. It is a 4.0 cream to off-white pages. Paid 140 was the winning bid. $29 buyer premium. So 169 pre-tax and pre-shipping for this Millie number 47 slab. If you guys are Dan DiCarlo cover fans and Millie the model Dan DiCarlo covers, that's about what these run.
mhm.
All right, what you got next?
Next one is kind of, I wouldn't say it's a random book, but it's not a first or anything. It's Strange Academy #4. Art Adams did all the covers off of this original series, and they are all amazing.
He did
Uh,
the variants. Each one
yeah,
had an art variant.
yeah, and it's just beautiful, beautiful covers. I would recommend that if you are interested in new characters, that you pick up Strange Academy. It's full. Strange Academy #1 is full of first appearances of a number of characters who may or may not have any kind of impact in the Marvel universe, but they are fun characters, very interesting. You get that whole vibe of, we have powers, but we don't know how to use them, and it's kind of Hogwarts vibes where they're going to the school to be able to learn how to use their abilities, and it's just a great story. And as you read along with it, you think, wow, this would really make a great TV show or a great movie or something along those lines. I don't have any knowledge about that, but the story itself is actually good. So this is the fourth in the series. Each cover for the first, I think, 8 issues was highlighted one of the characters who are a part of the series. And yeah, absolutely recommend this story. The story is great, and had some spin-offs as well. So if you enjoy it, here's a whole series of books that you can buy.
Did you read it? You read Strange
Yeah,
Academy?
I did
You
not
know,
read the whole thing.
it was written by Scotty Young.
Yes, yes, and
Interesting.
even yes, and I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Speaking of reading new comics, I got a DM on our Instagram, Bronze Modern Gods, earlier this week from our good friend Shrews Clues.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted to give a shout out. He said, John, great call on the new Captain America run by Straczynski. I just burned through the first 4 issues and asked my LCS to pull this for me moving forward. Thanks. I'm telling you guys, if you love Cap, pick it up again. It's great. How many YouTubers read their books? I challenge.
I have gotten out of the habit of reading new books. I have been, completely honest. I need to give some titles a second try. I
Not
was
necessarily
burned.
new books. I'm just talking reading, period. I never hear
Oh,
anybody talk about, like,
yeah, yeah.
weird.
That's a lot of
I'm,
people. Yeah,
I'm going to throw my back out, patting myself too hard.
yeah.
Back to the Heritage Auction wins. Working on my Captain America run, I'm pretty much there. But I saw this. It was insanely low. It was Captain America 105 at 8.5 with white pages. Not sure if it's improvable. I haven't really taken a close look at it yet. But the reason I bid on this and won it is because it was going for $30 and I couldn't let this go for less than the price of slabbing and shipping.
Right.
Uh, I grabbed it for $30, the buyer's premium of $29, and ended up being $59 for Cap number 105, 8.5 white pager. So I don't have a slab of this. And so I thought,
Perfect.
okay, I need to check the grader's notes. I'm not seeing a lot of giant defects on this. So I wonder why I got an 8.5. There's a couple finger bends on there that can be pressed out. If so, I might crack this one. Don't know if I would send it in again because I have most of my caps raw and I want to keep them that way with the exception of number 100.
Mhm.
Next.
Let's see. Oh boy, I have no idea how that book got there. Uh, no, my wife likes ISIS, so somehow I have an
Oh,
ISIS
wow.
comic. Yeah. She is now. This is Isis, the Egyptian goddess Isis, um, and the character that was featured on the TV show back in the
Oh,
day.
yeah. ISIS, ISIS, ISIS.
Yeah, yes, those of us of a certain age remember Isis, um, and so yeah, she's a big fan of these. The only comics she owns are Isis comics because of the nostalgia. We actually watched the series on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you can actually see a whole episode. Boy, is it cheesy! It is amazing how
Tell
foggy
you
the
what,
memory is.
I gotta speak for all my tribe here. Gay icon, that ISIS. Any little gay kid that grew up in the 70s, we were obsessed with 3 things: Wonder Woman, ISIS, and Electra Woman and Dyna Girl.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, so I buy copies of this. I believe Forrest bought this for my wife because he saw it and he knows of her interest in it. So thank you, Forrest, for buying this book for her. Um, she actually has she has two slabs that are on the wall. If we get this slab, this will be the third.
I think one of the number one slab came from me, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Um, uh, couple two for here for my heritage wins. One is actually a raw book. First time I ever got a raw book from a heritage auction. Have you ever bought raws? Oh, you
Yeah.
got yours. Yeah, usually it was raw, right? Um, Space Adventures number 34. So working on my Captain Adams still, my Charlton Captain Adams, early Captain Adam there. There he is. Nice. They graded it as a fine, very fine. I think that's accurate. I think it'll be nice with a little press action.
How's paper quality?
It is well, it's a Charlton, so it actually looks like white pages.
That's
So
awesome for a
not
Charlton. Yeah.
too bad. And yeah, it's not jagged cut or anything. It actually looks really good. And it's just chock full of Ditko goodness in here. So there was that, a 34, which I got, and then a Space Adventures slab number 42, 5.5, with off-white to white pages. And it's got some grease pencil here, which
Mhm.
if you know, you know, you can remove that grease pencil. Uh, Captain Adam's different coloring in this issue. It's usually red. For some reason, it's blue there. And this is from 61. So it's interesting that Ditko was double dipping between Charlton and Marvel at this point, actually getting ready to draw Spider Man at this point with
Mhm.
Marvel. But yeah, Captain Adam run coming along nicely. This has not been pressed at all, hasn't been cleaned at all. The slab is scuffed and scratched, and you get what you pay for. This was $75 before the buyer's premium. The raw book was $24
Plus
before the
the
buyer's premium.
$29 plus.
$29 premium on this ended up being $53. $53 for that in this condition is actually, I'm happy with that. So not too shabby. You're up.
Oh, let's see. Okay, here's a book. I know pretty everybody knows what this is. Eternals
Uh,
number. Um,
hot book.
yeah, it is. There are rumors of Eternals 2, and if that's true, then this book all of a sudden goes from dollar bin again to potential value. I have this book was kind of like a currency back 2019. People were jonesing for this book. There's a demand for it, and my friend Gary, who I was buying comics from, he had a number of them, and so I've seen a number of these books. I got from Gary the whole set, 1 through 19, plus the annual. So I have the full set of this, and I've just been sitting on it. I sold all the other books that I had, but the set I thought was important to keep. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens if Marvel. I was talking to, I don't remember if it was you or if it was our friend Evan about the Eternals movie. It was kind of it
It
was
was me
too
on
long.
Fridays. It was me on
Okay,
Fridays. Mhm.
right. It was too long, and it was a good movie that just had too much content. So if they learn a good lesson from that and make a good second movie, who knows? I mean, that could revitalize this particular title and all the characters involved in it.
I'm curious if this would be a case of speculators saying, burn me once, shame on me. I will not be burned again. I'm going to mix all my metaphors. Um, but
Oh, they have
yeah,
short memories, in my opinion. Speculators have, if there's dollars involved with it, they're not really that biggie.
your friend Gary also, you got a copy of 1, 2, and 3 for me,
Mhm.
and I pressed them and sent them in. They all came back 9.6s, all of them. So that's probably a 9.6er holding right there. Um, the final heritage auction win for me is a big one. It's one I've wanted for a long time. Never found the right copy. Never found uh, the price I liked. The dip is very real. It is Betty and Me number 16 in a CBS
Oh.
BBCS slab 4.5 off-white pages. If you are unfamiliar with this book, take a look at the image while I read the balloons to you. Archie, did you have any trouble rescuing me? I sure did, Betty. I had to beat off 3 other guys. Pause.
This along with the pearl necklace. Yeah, this is one of the innuendo covers. It's an awesome cover. Um, I'm jealous. I don't have one, but
Um, $220. Buyer's premium of $44, $264 pre-shipping, pre-tax. Service and handling, tax, credit card processing. Let's see. 111 plus 21 is 132 plus 2, $134 of additional fees divided among 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. Someone much better at math can do it right now.
yeah, that's why, heritage is a dangerous thing. What it's really good for is those rare books that you just don't have. You don't have other options for finding. Um, when it
Yeah,
comes across those, when you come across those, like my All Negroes comics #1, it may only be on Heritage because that's where people feel they're going to get the best money. Then it's worth bidding. But if it's a book you can get anywhere else, it's usually not worth it.
right. Um, it's interesting. But first of all, do you have any more show and tell? Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Then we can move on to talking about heritage auctions. But the big story this week in our viewer mail,
You've got mail.
you guys know what it is. You guys know what we're going to talk about. First person to hit us up who wins the contest among the hundreds of you was Lance Palombi. Good afternoon, John and Richard. Just wanted to know if you've been aware of an apparent CGC reholdering scam that is going on. I have linked some videos below made by Swaggle House, as he is far better at explaining the scam. Thought you might want to discuss it in an upcoming episode. I enjoy watching the show every week. Keep up the good work. Regards, Lance. And Lance has a couple of links there. Swaggle House covered this. Automatic Comics covered this. It really started with Instagram account, the 9.9 Newsstand. Shout out to you, buddy. If you're not aware, we're not going to waste a lot of time recapping it. Basically, what has been alleged slash borderline confirmed at this point by CGC themselves, someone has figured out a way to buy a lower grade copy of book A, also a 9.8 copy of same book, crack out the lower grade copy, leave it in the inner sleeve, resubmit it with the 9.8 label of copy B to CGC and say, hey, I want to reholder this book. And they didn't bother to regrade the book. They just reholdered it with the 9.8 slab. Horrible.
Yeah.
We've talked about this on the show before when Richard is afraid to send books in to be reholdered because he doesn't want to lose a grade of them potentially regrading the book. Well, apparently they weren't regrading these books at all. They were just slamming them shut. It got worse as the week went on with Immaculate Comics, I believe, showing a YouTube video of how to heat the corners of the slab fairly easily with an industrial hair dryer and a little bit of solvent, and boop, slab's open, compromised. Richard, where do
Yeah.
we start?
Well, yeah. Where do we start? First of all, Swaggle House has an excellent series of videos on this. If you want details about the history of this discovery, check out Swaggle House's channel. Great guy, great channel.
Also, check out the CGC forums where this all started after 9.9 Newsstand. These guys are detectives, man. They are like Columbo in the house.
Now, for those who don't know, the CGC slabs are sealed with ultrasonic welds along the side. If you look at the side of a slab, I don't know if you can see it here. But
Hold on, let me sip my tea. Like
right here, there's this area right here is an ultrasonic weld, and that is the security feature on these slabs. So If that is broken for some reason, that means that indicates to CGC or any buyer that someone has cracked that slab open and potentially done something nefarious with it.
And the posts at the bottom.
Yeah,
There's
and there are posts at the bottom here.
the big tell is the
Um,
post.
but what the person was talking about was heating the slab, and so that you could separate this seam here, heat it enough so that you could pop it open, and then taking a pair of tweezers and pulling that inner well out. The whole book here is in a well inside of this slab, and then you can just then insert that inner well into another slab without affecting those ultrasonic welds on the side. So CGC, if they're not really looking for that, apparently, they're just letting books go without reholder in a reholder situation without actually regrading the book. My problem with this was, first of all, CGC took almost a week to respond to this. Now, granted, it was over a holiday period. It was over the Christmas holiday, but it doesn't
Doesn't
matter. And, PR, public relations, is about relationships with the public, and their PR department completely ignored this thing. Instead, on their Twitter X account, they were posting, 12 days of Christmas things.
holiday giveaways. First of all, as someone who does this for a living, let me try to give marketing and PR a little bit of a break. I bet you, I'm hoping, let me take back, I bet, I pray that someone in marketing was smart enough to say, guys, we need to say something about this. And the lawyers slapped them
Mm.
down, said, we're working on a statement. Don't say anything yet. Because I've been in that situation for crisis management before where the lawyers get involved and it's like, guys, we got to say something.
Yeah, because the value of these slabs is in people's confidence of the quality or the integrity of the grade, right?
What does CGC stand for?
Uh, Certainty Grading Company, right?
Certified
Certified.
Guarantee Company.
So if there's any lack of trust, you're digging deep into the value of the brand. So if people don't have confidence that this is a 9.8 slab, there may be some tampering to it. You really just invalidate the reason why people would want to get their comic book slab. And as CGC mentioned, they've slabbed 18 million. They've certified 18 million books over the period of time they've been in business. And that's a lot of books all of a sudden to have that confidence fade in.
And to get into this, this is the new slab, the newer slab. The older slabs, the label and the book were connected in the inner well. So you could not just pull the book itself out with the inner well. The label came with it.
Here,
You
I've
have an
got a book here where you
you-
can see if you can see the at the top, the label itself is in another portion of this inner well.
right.
So,
Yep.
and that makes sense. That helps mitigate this problem if they continue to do that.
Lots of people are coming up with ideas, laser etching inside the inner well or the side of the I don't want to be flip about this. I had given up on slabbing before this all went down. You guys watched the show. You've heard us say that we're on strike and we're not sending things in because QC is quality controls in the dumper. They've hired a bunch of new graders that love putting fingerprints on the books and then dinging you for it.
The
They're
finger bands.
finger bends. Yeah, because you guys are turning the pages like a gorilla. So we had given up submitting. Also, I don't have a Hulk 181. I don't have any Mark Julius variants. I don't have an ASM 300. However, the guy here on the right of your screen does.
Have
Richard, do
what?
you have an ASM 300 slab?
Nope, sold that a long time ago.
Oh, I thought you had one. I was going to have
Nope.
you break it live on the show.
No, I sold that quite a bit ago.
You don't do Mark's Jeweler stuff. I don't do Mark's Jeweler stuff.
No, no. I mean, they're interesting variants, but it's not something that I have any kind of affinity for.
Do I have confidence in my books that I have slabbed? Yeah, I think 98% of my slabs I submitted myself, you know. Um, does that change my habits in the future? Yeah, for sure. Although I don't know, maybe not really. Is anyone this type of scam is really about moderns and newsstands and inserts and tattoos and Mark Jewelers variants? No one's going to take the time to buy a higher grade Marvel Boy #1, crack it open, grab the label, and take a lower grade Marvel Boy #1 and swap it out. That's my safety net here, I guess.
Yeah, well, my the average grade of the book I buy right now in my collecting journey is about a 3 because I'm buying a bunch of Golden Age books. So,
Who's gonna take the time to yeah. So not to dismiss that this is awful, and we're not doing that, but it just doesn't hit it home for us the way it does for a lot of younger, maybe modern collectors or dealers. I'd hate to be a dealer with inventory now of Hulk 181s and wondering, is that Marvel value stamp actually really in this slab?
mhm.
It's gotta suck. And CGC's response, it was a good response. It was a
Mhm.
late response. They say they're investigating. They're gonna possibly charge this person if they can get, they've got detectives involved. They said they're going to provide a list of the affected books and quote reimburse anyone that's been affected. I don't know how that reimbursement here. You $15,000 worth of CGC credit. No cash, please.
50,000. Yeah. No, I thought their response was good. I was better than I expected it to be. I expected it to be one of those half-baked, you know, business decision kind of responses, ignoring the fact that people have real concerns about the validity of CGC's process. So to admit that they found these books to be tampered with, to admit that they were having to improve their process, I think it will help building confidence. And to offer compensation, I think, is a real sealer to the whole process. That means
No
people,
pun intended.
no pun intended, which
Sonic
means
low.
they value people's money, and I think people will respond well to that. Like you say, it was late. They could have at least, when this whole went down, this drop a note saying, "Hey, we're aware of the situation. We're investigating it." Because without it, YouTube is an echo chamber,
Yeah.
and people were just tearing CGC apart
And the
because
forums,
there was,
CGC
and the
forums as
forums too. Yeah, well, the forums was horrible.
on their home base.
And there was no answer to the accusations, and the accusations built on other accusations. So at least now we have a response from them, and we know the path forward. And I'm hopeful CGC isn't going to take too big of a hit because of this whole process.
Uh, to go back to the marketing, I gave marketing a pass earlier in the show. Now I'm going to attack them. Smart marketing would have been, we have a crisis happening. I know the lawyers don't want us to say anything yet. So we're going to pause and put on hold our little 12 days of Christmas giveaway promotion because it's friggin' tone deaf right now. I know that they ostriches sometimes and they think, oh, there's only a small segment of the comic book CGC community who knows about this, is aware about it, or even cares. No, it's a lot bigger than that, you guys. Everybody is talking about this.
Mhm.
So I will give them demerits for that. They should have really just paused everything instead of like, the house is on fire, but we're giving away a slab today. Guys, not a good look. It's a crazy, crazy thing. It's the capper of the year of scamming.
Yeah. Oh, this is a year of, comics in general taking a beating this year. Values have gone down. Marvel and DC have tried every trick in the book to part with you with your money. We've talked about variant covers and the number of variant covers they've put out, and they've raised the price on books. So now, $6.99 is not unheard of for a 32-page comic. This was just like you said. This was just the exclamation point at the end of the year. And I'm really hoping 2024 is going to be a little better for the comic community.
Well, why don't you hit your first piece of your mail since we're talking about scams and things like that? this person has a
Mhm.
comment.
This is from Nadel9953. Nat says, I love facsimile books, particularly books I have slabbed. There's nothing unethical at all, as they are clearly marked and the paper stock is way different. I agree. I like facsimiles as well. I think facsimiles are a great way of introducing classic stories to people who will never have an opportunity to buy an X-Men #1 or a Fantastic Four #1. You can read the book in its original format and enjoy it that way. And yes, the paper, obviously the paper is different. The cover is slightly different. So some of these facsimiles are so close. I'm thinking of Ultimate Fallout 4. They're
Edge of
so close.
Spider-Verse #2.
Edge of Spider-Verse 2. Yeah, that it's if the untrained eye would have difficulty picking it out, the differences that make those books different. And the problem with those modern facsimiles are, it's the same paper quality. The fact that Ultimate Fallout 4 was 2011. So it used the same kind of glossy paper that books were printed out that the facsimile did. So I would say there's nothing inherently unethical about facsimile books, but people have used them for unethical purposes. So just like anything, use your common sense and do your research before you buy any of these books that have facsimiles. But personally, I love them. I buy lots of facsimiles. Just as you mentioned, we have books slabbed. I'll buy a facsimile for a slab book because I'm never going to crack my Fantastic Four #5. So if I want to read it, it's going to be a facsimile. So definitely, I think facsimiles are a good thing for the industry. I just wonder sometimes what Marvel's plans for facsimiles are.
You're not going to get your giant size superstars #1 facsimile edition for $6.99.
I think I'll just spend an extra $10 and just get the original.
My piece of email is from our good buddy Vexer 4000. Hi guys, great show again. Just to answer your question, you name a character Speedball because comics are for kids. Ha! Also, I know John got excited when Richard showed his ASM 194 newsstand, but that book is more rare in the direct market version. Sorry, that's my pet peeve. Vexer is referring to ASM 194 coming out at the dawn of the direct market. And he's correct. There are less direct market editions than newsstand editions of that book. However, people who are buying stuff from direct market were lovingly caring for them, placing them in backing boards and bags and not reading them over and over, whereas the newsstand ones were beat to hell. I would be curious. I really wish the CGC census was clearer on this. The percentage of newsstand 9.8s versus direct. We'll never know because they weren't tracking those from the beginning. But yeah, I hear you, Vexer. You are correct ish. It's your next
Yeah.
piece.
My next piece is from one of our new subscribers, FJ. Happy holidays to you both. My sister is a huge fan of the show Lost Girl. They apparently made one comic as a promo for the show and distributed it exclusively at the STCC in 2011. I am trying and failing to find it for sale anywhere online. Since the two of you are much more well traveled than I was wondering if you would keep an eye out for it. Also, if you wouldn't mind mentioning it to the rest of your members, it would be much appreciated. My sister is a book collector, and this would be her first comic book. Thank you both, FJ. Oh, absolutely. I did some of my own preliminary research after I got this email, and could not just like you. I could not find reference. I found references for this book, but I could not find any books for sale. I could not find any pictures of existing books. So this one is a ghost. And it was produced solely for the panel. So there was a panel in 2011 for the Law School TV show, and it was one of the giveaways for that panel. So if you attended that panel and you happen to have a copy of this book available, Lost Girl, um, please let us know, and we'll get in touch with FJ and maybe make his sister a happy person by connecting the two of you, and she can start her comic book collection.
There you go. Good luck. Let us know. DM us on Instagram at Bronze Modern Gods. My next piece of Euro mail is from Doc Reasonable. Oh, sorry, that's Doc Reasonable. I have to do that joke every time, Doc. Sorry. With comic book insurance, do you get a payout if the book sucks? I'll show myself out. I
Uh,
don't cover suckage. However, a little update on comic book insurance. I have it now. I actually got it. We've talked about it. And one thing that it does cover that I was pleased to find out is if there is damage to your book in transit, either to or from places like CGC. So if you send your books in to get slabbed and they're damaged, your insurance, your comic book insurance will cover it. If your slabs get damaged on the way home or someone steals your package from your porch, then it will be covered as well. So get that insurance, people. Susie Orman mode off. Richard, what is your last piece of your mail?
my last piece is from Big B McFly, the comic guy, on YouTube. Hello, John and Richard. Love the show. Thank you. But I think you misspoke. Godzilla #1 is not the first U.S. comic appearance of everyone's favorite atomic lizard. That honor belongs to, wait for it, Life with Archie 41 from 1965. First page splash, which, spoiler, turns out to be a movie that they were watching on the silver screen. Also, the first U.S. appearance of Mothra. Keep up the great work. Best regards, a Brian, aka Big B McFly. Thank you so much for the correction. You were right. Their first appearance was with Life with Archie in 41. It's amazing how popular Godzilla is. I never would have picked this particular character to maintain the level of popularity. If you think about it, he's a cheesy Japanese movie character from the 1960s that has morphed and continued in relevance all the ways to the 21st century. I think it's amazing.
Big B McFly, you're wrong. It's not Godzilla. It's not an appearance. Come on.
Well, okay, so it's a movie character. I still think it counts. First time
I'm
you see
kidding.
Godzilla.
It's not the first Godzilla comic book. How's that?
Okay,
The
that's
Marvel comic. I hear you, Big B McFly. You smarty pants. Look at you. Thank you for the email. We appreciate it. Hey, New Year 2024. You know what that means, Richard? We get
yes.
to bump up a year and go back to 1999 in the 25-year rule. Oh, 1999. What a weird year. We're pre-Casada
Hmm.
for Marvel. DC's chugging along. Independence Image is kind of struggling. They have not quite entered the Jim Valentino era of Walking Dead and things like that yet. It's a strange, strange time for comics. This will be great this year to cover this bizarre low print run year and things. And oh, wait, we have a visitor that just opened the door. My cat. Come here.
Oh, you,
My cat can literally open doors. Hi,
hi,
Blur.
Blur.
Say hi, Blur. Sorry, everybody. All right, go poop. I know why he's going to go right over here and go poop in the litter box. Where was I? Oh, 1999. X-Men the Manga, issue 26. This is the last issue of this title devoted to translating and reprinting the X-Men manga from Japan, of course. This series had a $2.99 cover price. This was back when standard Marvel comics were just $1.99. So, not a lot of copies of this series ordered. There is a single GPA sale of a CGC 9.6 from way back in 2019 for $99. Here's the interesting part about this book, Richard, and this tells you how dire things were. Diamond pre orders for this last issue were only 2,616 copies.
Wow.
Now, was Heroes World still around in 1999? I really should have done the research before I picked this book. I know there were other distributors at this point that would probably bring that number up a bit, but the
Let's
fact that, yeah, go on.
no, still that's an incredibly low number. That's store variant low for
Right?
nowadays.
A quick visit to Comicron shows that that's actually accurate. There
Wow.
can't be. Marvel wouldn't print a book with just 2,616 units.
Well, I'm sure as we go through 1999, we're going to find a lot of other low print run books. It was a tough year.
You guys tell us what you think. That's really crazy. But it's time for our underrated books of the week. Richard, you're heading back to the Bronze Age.
Yeah, I'm going way back to Batman 243 in 1972. This is the first appearance of the Lazarus Pit. It's the DC's Deus Ex Machina for the next few decades. Whenever they wanted to fix something, throw it in the Lazarus Pit. Seemed to be the answer to the problem. It was used by Nissa, who was the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, Black Canary, the Riddler, Lady Shiva, Joker, Jason Todd, Cassandra Cain, Kate Kane, and even Bruce Wayne used it at some or fell into it at a point. And the purpose of the Lazarus Pit was it if you bathed in its fluids, its emerald fluids, you would be healed and sometimes even resurrected. So you could throw a dead body in there, and the dead body would come back to life. So Jason Todd, yeah, not dead. Joker. Also, when you come out of the Lazarus Pit, you suffer a bout of insanity. For Joker, when he came out of the Lazarus Pit, he is actually sane, which I thought was pretty cool.
Twist.
so, so yeah, it's a vehicle that they use to rescue storylines, for the next 30, 40 years. And this is the first appearance of the Lazarus Pit as that device. Ra's al Ghul is, I think, one of the premier villains for Batman. Obviously Joker is always going to be number one, but I think a more realistic villain on Batman's level it would be Ra's al Ghul. So he's tied to this as well. Apparently, there were Lazarus pits that he found all around the world. There's more than one pit. So yeah, so it's an important a part of the Batman mythos, in my opinion. A GPA for an 8.0 is about $400, and back in 2021, during the height of the comic boom, we saw a 9.8 go for $5,400.
That's
There's only 300.
insanity.
Yeah.
Hold on. What? Why? Black cover, I guess, right?
I'm assuming, yeah, it's a tough cover.
Oofa.
Uh,
Okay.
Only 355 copies on the census, so this is a book that a lot of people don't get graded. There are raw copies on eBay, so if you're interested in grabbing a copy, please do. But like John said, that black cover makes it difficult to see it in high grades.
Oh, wow. Speaking of black covers, one of the issues of my underrated book has a really tough black cover. And it's not underrated valuable. It's underrated that not a lot of people know about it and talk about it. And it's a great read with excellent art. It is Stig's Inferno, which was an 80s indie title by Ty Templeton, who wrote and drew it. It ran for 7 issues. It began its run at Vortex Comics for 5 issues, and then it moved to Eclipse for the last 2 issues. And it is a hilarious book about a normal guy who ends up taking over hell. And the hilarity that ensues within it was inspired when Ty Templeton was reading Dante's Inferno and thought, "Oh, this will be a laugh riot for me to satire."
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting book to take as a premise.
And it's very well done. There was a trade paperback of the first 5 issues that Vortex released, but Stig's Inferno, cheap in the bins if you find it. I actually found issues. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm missing 1 and 2 of the entire run, and I found them for $1 each, man. And I at a show, and I just grabbed them. I got to find a 1 and a 2. If you're familiar with Ty Templeton's excellent art and writing, this is where it all started. If you love 80s independence, it's definitely one of the top underrated ones of that time. Strangely enough, Richard, I know it's shocking. There's no GPA or CGC sales data for this book.
Wow. Wow. So you could be the first.
You could be the first. Yes, I can be the first, especially with this tough number 3 black cover. However, if you want to read it, you just want to read it, The full run is available for free online, I think, officially through Ty Templeton's website, and I will put a
Wow.
link in the description, and you can read away and tell me what you think of Stig's Inferno.
Free is good.
Free is good. You never read this, huh?
No, the title sounds familiar, but I don't think I actually read it.
Now it's time. We're back, 2024. Lots of great stuff ahead this year. Make sure you hitch a ride with us. Join if you have not joined yet. If you don't want to, we're fine with that. We love you here every Monday anyway, and we will catch you next time.
Everybody, stay safe.